What I'd like to do today is to give you a brief demonstration of some of the relative fire properties of a number of different commercially available hydraulic fluids. We have here examples of a mineral oil based fluid, a polyalkylene glycol based fluid, a polyol ester based fluid, a so-called biodegradable hydraulic oil, which is also a polyol ester based fluid, and Fyrquel phosphate ester. In applications where you have hydraulic fluids present in equipment where there are high temperatures or other ignition sources, and examples of these types of conditions would be in the electric generation power industry, where you have high temperature steam lines, or in steel or aluminum foundry operations where there are molten metals present. You need to use a hydraulic fluid which is fire resistant. And this is important because if you were to experience a leak in your hydraulic system, which these systems are pressurized, and you could have a spray of hydraulic fluid landing on hot surfaces, you would have a fire hazard if you didn't have a fire-resistant fluid. The true mark of a fire-resistant fluid, of course, is that if ignited, the fluid will be self-extinguishing. And although many of these fluids claim to be fire-resistant due to their high flash point or high fire point, they are not self-extinguishing. And only a phosphate ester fluid is not only difficult to ignite, but it will not propagate a flame if it is ignited. And if you were to be able to ignite a phosphate ester, it would cease to burn once the ignition source was removed. So what I'd like to do is give you a demonstration. I'm going to take and dip these wicks into each of these different fluids, and then I'm going to come along with a torch, and we're going to try to light these and see if indeed these fluids are ignitable and also if they continue to burn or not. Now, the true measure of a fire-resistant hydraulic fluid is one which will not burn, will not continue to burn, even if ignited. And so, of this group, phosphate esters are, of course, fire-resistant because they are not only very difficult to ignite, but they do not support their own combustion. And so, while you might have a high flash point or high fire point for some of these fluids, I think that you'll see that it is possible to ignite them and get them to burn. So we'll start with the mineral oil. It's burning. Here we go to the polyalkylene glycol-based fluid, which is going to burn. The polyol ester, the biodegradable hydraulic fluid, which is also a polyol ester, and the phosphate ester. Now, the phosphate ester, not only is it difficult to ignite, but even if you are able to ignite it, it will self-extinguish itself. And this is because of the inherent heat of combustion of phosphate esters is a lot lower than other types of oils, as you see here. These oils do continue to burn after the initial ignition, and they're going to burn until you either burn them up completely or act upon them with some sort of outside extinguishing agent. Now, if you had a hydraulic system that had hundreds or perhaps thousands of gallons of fluid, and you were to spring a leak under high pressure and had an ignition source nearby, which kind of fluid would you want to have in your equipment? These so-called fire-resistant fluids, or a phosphate ester, which is really a truly fire-resistant fluid?